Hey, what's up guys? It's Untitled Beastmode, and I'm going to be your tour guide today as we take a lovely tour through the dead city of Raged. Named for its mass wreckage and mutant infestation, the dead city is no place for our humankind. As you'll look to your right and left in this tunnel, you will see the beautiful detail of the ID Tech 5 engine, and you should really appreciate the graphics of this game, and especially in this city. What's up guys? What's happening? And like I just said, I really want you guys to focus on the setting of this mission and really how awesome this ID Tech 5 engine is in Rage. This was probably the first mission, in my opinion, that really started to show off the engine's full potential in terms of visuals and sounds. And I have to say, it was a pretty awesome experience. Creeping around through this city almost kind of had me on edge, just as the vibrations and the game music was resonating in my surround sound in my Turtle Beaches, and mutants were coming out of every possible direction, and it just made this mission really shine out to me so far through the game, and it was just a total blast to play. And you know, that's one thing I really want to point out about this game that I've really noticed a lot while playing that's different from other games, and that's the AI of the enemies in this game is just it's something really refreshing, and I can definitely say it's a highlight of this game. Usually in other games, enemies just, you know, kind of charge at you aimlessly in a straight line, kind of kamikaze style, just doing their best to look fearsome and scary, you know, and all that. And I'll have to say, in Rage, the enemies do a pretty dang good job of being all scary and messed up and whatnot. I mean, they are mutant humans, so they do kind of have to look freaky like. But it's not the only it's not only the fact that they're freaky, you know, when they're like beating your face in with the club, or like you'll sneak up on them and they're like eating a dead human and whatnot. But it's the way that they come after you that really almost makes them more scary. They'll be climbing off ceilings and bouncing between cover, and they even like literally find ways to get around or behind you that you didn't even think or imagine the game developers would have incorporated into the game. Usually you're thinking that, you know, they're gonna come through like one direction, and all of a sudden they'll like climb up a wall that, I mean, you don't think they can actually climb up, but they do, like a little spider, and then they're behind you and you're getting attacked from behind. And it really does provide a challenge on harder difficulties, and often it makes you jump, because you think you're covering like the main way the enemies are coming at you, you know, laying down suppressing fire, and then all of a sudden there's one right behind you trying to eat your face. And that's what I really like about the enemies in Rage. They find very strategic ways to attack you, and it almost seems like it's in a group like faction, even though it's not. Just the main group will distract you, and then there'll be like one or two that'll like come out of the ceiling behind you, or a hole in the wall that you didn't recognize, like a little crack. They'll just like be crawling out of cracks like bugs. So yeah, during this gameplay, that's the two things I want you guys to try and remember, is the enemy AI, and it may not be as evident in this level, since this level really is a big open map. There's not a lot of close quarters, but you should still be able to see the difference from other games, just especially the way they move around when they come at you. And you're definitely going to notice the graphics as we tour this great dead city. But instead of talking about the gameplay or some random topics during this commentary, I thought it would be a nice and refreshing idea, you know, to have a little story time with Beastmode, where basically I'll tell you about something that probably has nothing to do with anything in this game. And my idea for this is to actually make this into a series. I'm gonna shoot you in the penis. I want to make this into a series of videos from now on, where I'll kind of commentate over any type of gameplay and tell you guys a story about any sort of random topic or something that happened in my life, and even topics that you guys may have asked or questioned me. So I'm gonna tell you now, if you have any ideas or questions for a future video, let me know. And I may even start doing like a potential question and answer type of video, where you guys just send in a whole butt ton of questions, and then maybe once a week I'll commentate over a game, and it'll just be like a question and answer with beast modes. I mean, any type of question, like, you know, do you have a dog, or what's your favorite food, or, you know, have you ever done this? Just anything. I mean, really anything would go. And, you know, I could do that along with the story time with beast mode. So send in your questions. Probably gonna start trying to do that, and let's talk about a story. So today I want to tell you guys about sports and my background in athletics, just because this has been a main part of my life since I was born. and it's still continuing today. It's been a primary part of my life ever since I've grown up, and it's been a main focus of my family. So, you know, I just kind of want to tell you guys about that a little bit. And before I start, I just want to let you guys know, I'm going to tell you everything how it was, how it is. I'm not going to exaggerate with you. I'm just going to tell you straight. And I don't want to sound arrogant or cocky whatsoever, because I'm not like that at all. And for those of you, I mean, if you ask someone who knew me, and I mean, most of you guys obviously don't know me in person, but that's not how I am. I like to stay very humble, very modest, and I'm very thankful for the blessings that I have been given. My dad always told me growing up, and it's one of those things I kind of took to heart, and I think I'll always remember him saying, was that, Braxton, if you're really good at something, people are going to brag for you. And you know, it's true. You think about it, people that are very talented at something usually have, you know, like fanboys or just people talk about them for themselves. There's no need to boast yourself up, you know, because if you really are good at whatever you're saying, other people will know it and they'll talk for you. So that's just kind of my philosophy on that, and I definitely don't want to sound arrogant, but I'm going to tell you guys how things were. So growing up, when I was little, I got involved. I think ball was probably actually my first word. So I've been involved in athletics since a very, very young age. My dad would always come home from work, and I'd be like, Dad, can we go play ball, you know? And we'd go out and either play baseball or football. And my dad was a very successful quarterback at university. He had a lot of passing records there for touchdowns and completions and whatnot. So he was a very good athlete himself. He was on a full ride and everything. And so by the time I was like 4 or 5, I literally knew like every possible wide receiver route. And we would go out in the backyard, and he'd be like, all right, run a post. And then he'd be like, all right, run a quick slant, you know, run a hitch and go. And I just knew everything. I mean, from the time I was little, and that's really how I developed a lot of my athletic skills, just because I was exposed to it from a very young age, and I have to credit my dad for that. And moving on to elementary school, you know, you're not really in like teams at that age. You're kind of just doing all the YMCA stuff, or, you know, just recreational things in your city. Recess was probably the biggest sports at the time, and recess is awesome, so I'm not going to diss on that. But moving into middle school, I was a little bit more physically mature than most people. I'd have to say I hit puberty a little earlier. I was a bigger kid, you know. I was pretty tall, pretty well filled out, you know, as far as muscle and whatnot. And I'm not like physically mature by any means now. I mean, everyone's in college, you know, we're all about where we're supposed to be. But yeah, at the time I was just a little bit bigger than everyone. I was faster, and, you know, I was already pretty naturally good at sports. So at the time I was pretty dominant in athletics. I did football, basketball, and track, as well as baseball. And baseball I quit doing in 7th grade just because it got to be too much for me. You know, we were playing like 70 games in the summer, practice every day, you had double headers. It just took up way too much time to me, and really baseball is just, in my opinion, too slow of a sport for me. I like to be moving all the time, and baseball, you're pretty much just sitting there all the time. I loved pitching. Pitching was what I did, and it was by far one of the favorite things I liked about baseball and just sports in general. Just because you're completely in control of the game, you know. As a pitcher, you're going up against everyone one-on-one, and I really loved it. But I quit baseball in 7th grade and started to focus on football, basketball, and track. And basketball became my next huge love. And in 8th grade, I was actually very, very fortunate. My class was very, very talented in basketball. We've been playing together since like the 3rd, 4th grade. And it wasn't necessarily that we were all like high caliber athletes. I mean, we did have very good athletes, but it was more the fact that we really, at the time, you know, for 8th graders, we really understood the game very well, and we played as a team together because we've been playing like that for a long time. And my 8th grade year, we actually went we were 48-0 going into our last game, and this isn't against like cupcake teams and stuff. We traveled to a lot of places. And we played, you know, premier teams from the state, you know, and a couple from other states. And going into our last game, we were 48-0. We were playing a team we'd already beat 4 times that season. And they were a very good team, too. Probably one of the top 5 in the state of Nebraska as well. And we usually ended up meeting them in a championship game of a tournament. And this was no different. last tournament of the year, championship game, and we just laid an egg, to be honest. They beat us by 14, and our undefeated season went down the hole. It finished 48-1, but it was a great experience, and it's something I'll always remember. And at the time, basketball I thought was what I was going to focus in. And when I got to high school, my freshman year, I was actually fortunate enough to get moved up to varsity football as a freshman. I played about 2 games on my freshman team, and then they moved me up onto the varsity level to play wide receiver. And I'd been playing quarterback, but when I made the transition to varsity football, I started playing wide receiver and corner. And, you know, playing varsity football at the highest level in the state of Nebraska it's not very common. You know, usually you're not going to see that till sophomore year, and usually junior years when you'll start playing quite a bit. And that followed over into basketball as well as track. I actually started in all 3 sports as a freshman at the varsity level, and finished my career with 12 varsity letters, which was the most in my school's history. So, you know, that's kind of something I was always proud of. I was very fortunate. Like I said, I was blessed to have that ability. You know, I got to thank God for that, and I tried to use the most out of it and enjoy it. Football really became my passion, though. Basketball just kind of started to fade away when I got into high school. It kind of lost its fun, and football and track really became what I really started to enjoy. And football, my senior year, I think, you know, like sophomore year, I led the state in interceptions as a defensive back. And, you know, I had some pretty good stats. Was named to the all-conference team, all-area team. Junior year, I was all-state honorable mention. Senior year, I got all-state. Played in the Shrine Bowl, which is basically like the Nebraska all-star game. The best players in the state that are seniors play in this game. It's to benefit the Shriners Hospital, which is like kids with disabilities. And that was a great experience. We went down to a Shriners Hospital in Minneapolis, and got to see all these kids, and it was really an eye-opening experience, seeing all these kids, you know, that can't play sports, you know, are having so many problems, have been in and out of surgery all their life, and it was a great thing to see, you know, like what we were actually playing for, and just put things into perspective of just being, you know, thankful for what we have, and just the ability to walk around, you know. These kids would just love to do anything, you know, play any type of sport, and they can't. So it was very eye-opening, and that was one of my highlights of my sports career in high school. Track, my sophomore year, I started running the 300 hurdles, which is the 400 hurdles in college, and I was completely against it. I'll be honest. I thought of myself more as a sprinter and a 400 runner. I didn't want to do the hurdles because I didn't know how, and when I did do it, I just looked silly, to be honest. And I hated it. I ended up getting 8th in state, though, as a sophomore in the hurdles. My junior year, I got 4th in state and 6th in the 400, 4th in the 300. And so my senior year, I had pretty high goals for myself, just because a lot of the people that had finished ahead of me graduated. And I was fortunate enough to be a gold medal champion in 300 hurdles in the state of Nebraska at the highest class. We go by class like A, B, C, D, and I was in a Class A school, so I was at the largest competition level and was a state champion, and it was really like the epitome of my high school career, because that's something I'd been working towards for a long time. And at that point, I really decided it was a big decision where if I was going to go play football or basketball, or football or track, I mean, not basketball. And, you know, I'd been looking at a couple, like, Division I AA schools and some Division II schools for football. And I actually was at the University of Nebraska-Kearney, where I'm at now, on a football visit. And I met up with the track coach, and I really started thinking about track more. And I decided I really didn't think I was going to enjoy football for 4 more years, just because it's a very large time commitment. For those of you that play football, I mean, especially in college, it's a huge time commitment, and every sport is. But, you know, track, it just seemed like the way to go for me. So that kind of brings me to where I'm at right now, running track at the University of Nebraska-Kearney, which is a Division II school in the NCAA. And, you know, I'm enjoying it right now. I really enjoy just staying active, staying fit. I love playing video games, and sometimes I don't always look forward to going to track practices, I've got to be honest, just because I know, like, the workout's going to suck that day. But when you get done, you feel like you did something, you accomplished something, and that's what I enjoy. So right now we're finishing up general conditioning. Our indoor season starts at the beginning of December, and hopefully that's going to go pretty well. I'll be running the 400 hurdles, 4x4 relay, the 600 indoors, which I'm not really looking forward to, but hopefully it goes well, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. You're gonna see right here, and I had to cut this out because you're gonna have to play the game to see how this all finishes out. But remember that big baddie you saw during the level? Well, you pick up the rocket launcher, you're like, why do I have a huge... Oh, that's why I have a huge gun, because we got this freaking giant that's going to blast my face in. And, what's going to happen? Yeah. Sorry, guys, you're going to have to go play it to see. It's been Untitled Beast Mode with you. Hope you enjoyed a little background on me. Please favorite, like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one. Peace out.